Alright guys, picking up pretty much where we left off with the last episode, with this turbo manifold done, apart from the wastegate part which is going to come off here. But yeah, in terms of where the actual turbo sits, we are done. So what I'm trying to do now, I just finished welding up the runners on this other manifold. So what I'm trying to do is get this turbo in the same position so that when the downpipes come off, they're both at the same level, because otherwise it'll look a bit stupid. This one's going to have to be kind of tilted up a bit like that or something. And the other thing is it needs to kind of come a little bit more over that way, otherwise the downpipes are going to end up touching before they do the loop. So this is what they're going to be like. They're going to do this loop, which is why I say we need to make them short enough so they don't hit in the middle. I've cut this down as much as I dare before we start getting into the actual bend. So that's pretty much how that's going to sit. We could have actually gone a little bit further back, there's still quite a bit of room to the belts, but given how hot this is going to be, I think that's a decent distance. Because the other thing we've got to worry about is the intercooler being this side of it. But yeah, I think I might just tack this on so I've got a better reference for when I'm offering that turbo up on the other side. What do you reckon about there? I mean, we can rotate the V-band, so it doesn't really matter. Let's go for that. Probably do with another tack just to help hold the weight of it. Right, it's not going anywhere now.
6.5 hours later.
Oh my god, this has been so fucking awkward. I've been having to like hold the turbo and the downpipe that's attached to it, hold it up here with one hand, and then like try and offer some pie cuts in with another hand, and then try and like move my head and see if it's all level. And oh my god, it's been a right pain in the ass. But I think I've just about got things where I want them now. I'm just going to tack this on here. Might just do this here actually. Fuck it, let's just do it here. Right, so now we'll pick the whole thing up, try, see if we're anywhere near where we want to be. I think that's starting to look pretty good. The only thing I'm not sure on is the height. It's really hard to judge from here. Like this one looks too high, but then when I go lower down here, it looks about right. Fuck knows. Fuck knows. This is proving a lot more awkward than I was expecting. Right, fuck it. At this point, let's just try it. Right, welding this up isn't going to be particularly pleasant because there's a little bit of a gap around the whole thing. I don't know if you can see that at all, but yeah, it's going to be awkward. That's because you can't get a V-band for this size tube, the Schedule 10 tube that is like standard for manifolds. For some reason, no one makes a V-band that is the size of that. So you either have to get an expander, which is what I did last time, but then that takes up more space, or you just weld the gap, which is what I'm doing this time. But yeah, it's pretty unpleasant, especially because it's stainless. You kind of want gas on the back of it, really. Well, I haven't been bothering with that for the rest of it, so fuck it. Just lob a load of rod in there and hope for the best. Make your own jokes. Well, we really overheated that, didn't we, already? Look at that. She got all purple and horrible already. No, I'm making such a hash of this, but whatever. At this point, I don't really care, I'll be honest. I've spent all day welding the other manifold, and then I've spent the last hour just lifting this thing up and down and trying to eyeball things. Oh my god, it's fucking hideous. Why are you going all stupid colours already? I don't even know anymore, man. I don't even know how to weld. Right, we've got these last two bits to weld. Made some marks now so I can actually see where it goes. It's like 11 o'clock at night. I'm very bored of welding, but this is the last bit, and there's one other bit actually to do, but this is pretty much the last bit. And then we can go see if everything actually fits in the right place. Right, I think we're about as lined up as we're going to get. That is how we look at the moment. It's not perfect because this one is like a little bit pointed outwards, where it needs to be a little bit more tilted that way, but for what I had, like for how awkward it was to offer it up and try and figure out the pie cuts and stuff, it's turned out about as well as I could expect, really. Height-wise, they look pretty much bang on, which I'm quite surprised by. I reckon that one's maybe a tiny bit higher. I don't know, but yeah, it doesn't look like obviously out, so that's the best I could hope for. Just trying to think, do we need to take the turbos off before it goes in? I don't think we do. The manifolds you can't get on out of the car, but the turbos we can kind of do either way, I think. Let's just see if we hear a smash as it goes in. No, I think we're pretty good, to be fair. I think we are pretty good. So let's lower this bitch down. God, it looks a lot more everything now that the turbos and the manifolds are on. I'm used to just lowering the engine on its own in here. So this is what we look like now. I think it's pretty cool. The one thing I will say though is that you can notice that this one is clocked a little bit that way compared to the other one. The other one's like kind of straight on with the chassis. This one you can tell it's turned a little bit, which is a shame. Would have been nice to get them both identical. So it's been a couple of days since the last clips that you saw, and I changed my mind on how happy I was with this. I welded another pie cut in there because it needed to come around a bit, like I say. So it's looking a lot better now. It's all in line with this one a lot better. The reason there's no downpipes on at the moment though is because instead of these 2.5 inch ones, we're going to use these 3 inch ones, which does mean I need new V-bands because I welded that onto there. So yeah, we're going to have these bigger 3 inch boys, which will be better for flow and also look a bit better, I think. And yeah, I'll try and get them a bit closer this time. So, more welding incoming. So after even more welding, which went very badly, I'm not even going to show you some of the welds, it was horrific. This is what we look like now with the 3 inch downpipes on. Looks a bit better, it's a bit chunkier, and because this turbo is now actually in the right place, it all lines up pretty nicely. Look at that, pretty much bob on. Height-wise, I don't think they're quite perfect. Like this one looks a little bit lower, but it's weird because when you put something flat underneath them, they do actually line up pretty well, but to my eye, that one looks lower than that one, but maybe I'm just retarded. Anyway, yeah, next job is to make the wastegate branch thing, which is going to have this sitting there somewhere. So this is a bit of tube that I've just notched and welded the wastegate V-band flange onto. I've notched it at a slight angle so that when it sits on there, it's just at a slight angle rather than being completely like perpendicular like that, so that the gas is like, it's got a slightly easier route to go out there when the wastegate opens. Like obviously when you're opening the wastegate, you want the gas to go through the wastegate, you don't want it to still go to the turbo. So the idea is you have a slight angle. Ideally I'd want it a bit more of an angle like that so it's even easier, but then it just makes it harder to fit on there and weld nicely and fit the wastegate on. So yeah, we've gone for just a small angle, and then obviously the wastegate is going to sit on top of there, something like that, and the screen and pipe point off that way. I'll show you me actually making the other one, like notching it and welding everything on, but for this one I just wanted to get it done. So that is one of the wastegate branches on. Like I said, I'll film making the other one so you can see how I actually made this one. I think there's something up with the welder at the moment as well, because I don't know if you can see all the purple and blue colours down there. No matter what I do, whether I change the amps or the post flow or anything, it just seems to go blue and purple straight away. So I think there's something up with the gas supply there, because like the other welds didn't do that. So there's something going on now. It's not like I just don't know how to weld. Well, I mean, it is kind of true, but to a certain extent, I know what I'm doing. But anyway, yeah, let's make this other one, which is going to be pretty much the same deal about there. So first thing we need to do is notch some tube. So if we come over to the world's messiest workbench, we've got this tube notcher thing, which is designed specifically for this task, and it lets you do different angles. If you can see down there through all the dirt, but you can select which angle you want to notch it at. So got this in there, just going to spend like an hour now trying to drill through it, and then we'll be good to chop it down to size and start welding stuff. Oh yeah, forgot about this. Because the saw isn't quite as long as this, we've got to chop this off halfway through so they can actually get through. Block off. And we can carry on with our saw. There we go, she's finally done. So that's what we end up with after the notcher has done its thing. Obviously we need to clean it up a bit, but it's not too bad. So that's basically when it's level, and this is the gap that we've got. So we're just going to trim down the edges and try and get it a bit better. It won't ever be perfect because I'm not going to get the exact profile of this right, but we can get it somewhere close. So after cutting that down some more and profiling it a bit with the flap disc and then just offering it up over and over again to see if it fits, we're about there. There's a tiny gap at the front still, but it's not that bad. I can weld over that without too many dramas. So yeah, that's probably how we're going to sit. So now I just need to mark it with a pen and then drill a hole in this. It won't be a perfectly round hole though because of the shape of everything. So I'm going to have to just drill like a sort of half-size hole and then do the rest with a die grinder, I think, but not the end of the world. Right, so we've got the hole roughly cut out. It's not absolutely perfect, but it'll do. And we've got this piece that's going to go on there. About there, I reckon. Ah, fuck. Yeah, see, that's just gone all purple and grey and horrible straight away. You see the colour of that? Like, I don't know how well it will come across on camera, but for the very first weld on a cold bit of metal, that would normally be kind of gold or silver. And then as you start to get everything like really hot, then it starts doing that. That's just because I'm impatient. But for it to do that straight away is not good. And I don't know why. I've troubleshooted it loads. I've tried less gas, more gas, different gas lens, different cup, less amps, more post flow, less post flow, faster speed, slower speed. Nothing seems to really make a difference. It just seems pretty random. Like sometimes it'll go quite nice and sometimes it won't. So I'm wondering if the torch has got a leak somewhere like I had a couple of years ago. But there's nothing obvious. So I don't know, for now I'm just kind of soldiering on until I've got another gas lens turning up just in case it's that, although like I say I've tried a different one with a smaller cup, but got a completely different style of lens turning up, so we'll try that and then we'll just replace the torch, I guess, because I can't see what else it can be. Yeah, it's annoying. Yeah, this is going terribly, so I don't think you need to watch me do some more shit welding. You've seen plenty of that by now. So we'll cut to when it's finished. Right, so that's welded on, but because I'm an absolute fucking knob goblin, I forgot to put this bit on, or weld this bit on first. Luckily, I think we can just about still get to it all, but if we'd made this much shorter, that would have been an absolute nightmare. So yeah, that's fucking stupid. It's still gonna be awkward getting into that bit, I think, with getting the torch on there, but we should be able to do it. Clean it up first and then have a go. So this is how we're looking now with the 3-inch downpipes on and the wastegates both on. Not quite symmetrical, which is kind of bugging me, but that was just kind of the way it had to be because of how the manifolds are. But yeah, next job is to make the screamer pipes that are going to come out there, and I think I am just going to have them come across there and then down the front of this basically, because like I said there isn't enough room between there. They're only pretty small tubes actually, let me show you the tubes. Right, so this is the tube that we're going to use to come off these, and as you can see it's pretty small compared to everything else that we've been working with. So should be fine to just have that come off on both sides and just go down the front here like that. Same on that side, because this is going to be a bottom exit for the screamer pipe just so that we can stay under the noise reg limits, because obviously ideally it would be nice to just have this go straight up basically and out the bonnet, but that's going to be way too loud for the noise regs unfortunately. Now I'd really like to just start making these right now, but until we get the intake plenum thing done so the throttle body's in position, I don't really want to start making stuff around here, because if the throttle body ends up being about here, you know, if I get these coming out a bit further or whatever, I need to know how much room I've got to work with in this area really before I make stuff come past here and go down here. So I think I'll wait until Bryn is finished doing the CAD stuff for the intake manifold, and then we're going to just 3D print a little plastic version just to put on the front half of it so we can actually see exactly where the throttle body is going to sit, and then I can have the throttle body back and then we can sort of mock stuff up around it. So yeah, we're waiting for that to get done. I don't actually know what's going to be next now. I need to sort out what's going to happen with the whole muffler situation. We've not got a lot of room. Originally the muffler was going to go in here, like between there and about here, before this ends up going back up and out the bonnet. But with these 3-inch pipes and the way that I've cut the bend, there's barely any room. That's like 7 or 8 inches there, and that's pretty short for a muffler. So I don't know, we could still have the muffler in this section as it comes back up, so there's different options, but we've got to figure that out. But yeah, I don't actually know what I'm going to do next. I was thinking I was just going to do these next, but I don't want to do that because, like I said, no throttle body. So fuck knows. Join us again next time to find out what I end up doing.